What is the story behind the Flex designs?
So ENVO was originally selling conversion kits. We dealt with a lot of DIYs. We knew about that segment of the population looking for products which are niche application. So we had bikes. We had T35 and ST. We had Lynx, which was a folding bike. But there were a lot of niche that we were not addressing. And while we could have designed one product for each of those niches, we wanted to add a little bit of our spin on it, which was to design something which was sustainable and which was something which could stay with you for a long amount of time. For example, you have kids that you want to take on a ride. You can buy an Urban. You can put a child seat on it and they can ride with you. Or you have your partner who wants to go with you on a ride. You can put a seat on the Urban and both of you can go on a bike ride. Fast forward 25 years. You are living into your golden years. You may want something which is much more easier to drive. You don't want something which is high speed. You want something which is a little good on balance. You can take your Urban, swap out the rear wheel, put on a trike kit, and that will become Flex Trike. So you have a product that evolves with you as you go through your years, as your needs change, as your demand changes.
So what's the difference between that and the Overland?
So Overland is designed mostly for off-road purposes. The regulation in North America says that your bike cannot give you more than 500 watts. But that is only for if you want to drive on roads. If you want to go off-road, there is no law that covers that. And so you can go above that number. So that's why we designed Overland to be your companion for overland adventures.
Everything in the Flex system is built on the same platform, correct?
Absolutely. So every single Flex shares the same frame. That frame, you can put different forks on it, you can put a different wheel on it, different motor on it, but everything fits.
So interchangeability, complete customization to whatever your utility or use is.
Absolutely. If you want to take it on as a DIY project, you can turn a trike into a snow bike, into an Overland, into an Urban. Of course, there are limits to it. That's why we have packages. For example, Urban and trike, they're interchangeable. It's very easy to change those parts. It's a commercializable product. Like if we can market that and someone can do it in 15 minutes and it's a viable business model. Same goes for Overland and the snow bike. But essentially, yes, if you have one of these, you can turn that into any other product as per your will.
How would you categorize the Flex bike with regards to segmenting it into the market? So there's road bikes, Tour de France style, and then you obviously have on the other end, cargo bikes, utility bikes. Where does it fit?
So it sits at a very sweet spot in the middle. So you usually have road bikes which are designed for that purpose, or you have utility cargo bikes which are designed for that purpose. Overland and Urban in particular, they sit right in the middle. If you want to use it as a commuter bike, you can. It handles like a normal bike, it's very responsive, but at the same time, if you want a second rider, or if you want to carry a cargo with you, the rear rack as well as the geometry of the frame is such that it will give you a required performance. You can put cargo load on this and it will be stable in performance.
And to what load of a cargo load can you stick on it?
So what we have designed and tested this for is up to 400 pounds.
How does the battery usage change when it comes to cargo bikes?
Cargo bikes, of course, they carry more load. Even if you have a second passenger, that would double the load that goes on the bike. So that has an effect on the battery life. And we took that into account, which is why all of the Flexes is designed for the second battery. The second battery goes on the frame. It is connected to your electronic system. So it's not just resting there, it is powering your system. And with the Overland, you have 48 volt, 17 ampere hour. Two batteries, that is 1600 watt hour. That is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, battery capacity that you can find on an e-bike in the world.
If you're looking at RAD as essentially like an entrance level product, and you're looking at Flex as an engineering specific product, where's the difference between the two? What makes Flex that step above a RAD product?
So RAD products are good. I would say that because of them, a lot of people got into the e-bike game. They discovered their first e-bike. But Flex is one of those products that you would want to upgrade to. Because there are many reasons for that. The first and foremost is that it is designed by North American designers and for North American market. Secondly, as I mentioned, that this falls between that sweet spot between the cargo as well as the bike. So if you have a normal road bike and you want something cargo, instead of going all the way to the cargo, which handles weird and which has its own limitations, you can choose something like Flex Urban or Flex Overland, which will give you the best of both worlds.
There's an interesting design element in the Flex bikes, and it's quite proprietary, isn't it? The fact that a Flex bike with such a superior cargo load capability can be folded. Can you expand on that?
Flex is, to the best of my knowledge, is the only cargo e-bike in the market which can be folded. That was quite a difficult task for us, because if there's a hinge in the middle of your frame to make it strong enough for a 400-pound load, that was quite a challenge, but we strongly believe that it was necessary. And there's a reason for that. The first and foremost is that, as I mentioned, that it's designed by North American riders. We live in Vancouver. Most of us live in condos. So we know how difficult it is to get your bike inside your lift and to take it inside your condo. And trike is, you have to have a trike which folds, because if you take any e-trike designed somewhere in any country apart from Canada or US, you try to fit that in the back of your RAV4. You cannot do that. And that's where we got the idea of, at least for the trike, that when you try to fit those bikes in there, it doesn't fit. So you needed something which can be folded for the transportation as well as for the storage.
Tell me about the Overlander. What separates it from the other ones, and its suspension?
So Overland, as I mentioned, it's for off-road. So if you're going off-road on trails, you're going over rocks and sticks and stones, you need something which will make that ride comfortable. And that's why it comes with a suspension front fork. And on top of that, it has fat tires. So with fat tires, that acts as a suspension in itself, and with the added fork, it does make your ride quite comfortable.
How does the ride experience change from a fixed versus a suspension?
I would say it doesn't have much difference in handling. It's more of how it feels to go over those curves. But again, in Urban's defense, it does also come with the fat tires, so it gives you that comfort level as well.
Are the tires interchangeable so that you could have a off-road or on-road tire?
Yes, of course. These frames are designed for up to 3.3-inch tires, 20 by 3.3. You can put any tire within that range.
I've heard you guys took on a challenge that nobody seems to have been able to accomplish, and that would be the Q factor. What is the Q factor, and how did you guys take it on?
So the Q factor is the distance between both pedals. So essentially, it is your riding stance, how wide your feet, your legs are apart when you're riding the bike. So for a sports road bike, it's as little as possible. So that's the conventional knowledge, that if it's as little as possible, that's the most ergonomic position. But with the fat bikes, the issue is, because the fat bikes have bigger tires, so you need to have bigger axles. So that's why you get really big Q factors, and for us, that was not acceptable. That's not good for your ergonomics. That's not good for your health, I would say, if you do that for a long amount of time. So we took on this challenge to design a fat bike with a standard Q factor, and we were able to accomplish that with a few modifications, I would say. Like we had to create some custom parts for this bike, but ultimately we were able to accomplish that standard Q factor. So if you see someone riding a Flex Overland, please, I would request you to notice on their feet. It won't be far apart like a triangle. They would be riding it comfortably as compared to many of our other competition.
Oh, that's pretty incredible. I mean, the biggest thing too is the wider you get away from center, there's a certain point of power output, right? And so your power output, the wider you get, is less. And same thing, if you come too narrow, you lose your power output. There's a perfect sweet spot. So let's talk about ergonomics. From an ergonomics perspective, which is the rider's position on the bike, what was taken into consideration?
So this is a 20-inch tire bike, which is not a standard geometry, at least not by North American standards. Having said that, we did design the geometry in such a way that it really didn't matter if you were riding a 20-inch tire bike or you were riding a standard 27.5-inch tire or 700C. Although we did design our bikes to be a little more upright, because we feel like the demography that is interested in these bikes, they want something which is easier to ride, and that makes it also more accessible for variety of demographics. So it is upright, but it does come with adjustable handlebars. So there is a little bit of adjustment that can be accomplished.
Yeah, and you can see that here at the two options behind us. Tell me a little bit about the step-through design.
So we designed Flex to be accessible. We designed this so that anyone can ride this bike, no matter which demography it is. If you have physical impairment, if you want something which is easy to get on, get off. So step-through is the most comfortable design there is. The only challenge with this is stiffness, but we did design it such that that was taken care of. So essentially, it's the best design out there.
So you have your platform, and that would be like the foundation purchase, and then you add your accessories. Do you add batteries? Do you add power? How does it work? Like, what is your entrance, and then where do you go from there?
For each package, you buy that product. You buy Overland, you buy Urban, you buy snow bike, you buy cargo trike, or you buy trike. And then once you have that, then you can add accessories to it. And by accessories, I mean short rack and long rack. So you can buy an Urban with short rack and put a longer rack on it. With that, we also have the option to buy a single battery version, which is the default, or a dual battery version. This is what we're offering right now. In the future, in the next few seasons, we will also, the next step would be the compatibility between Urban and the trike, and Overland and the snow bike. And the third step would be the interchangeability between all the different products. So there's a product roadmap in front of us, but even right now, you'd have quite a lot of options.
How does the Flex benefit businesses?
For example, if you're a dealer, you can have one inventory. You can have an inventory of Urbans, but then if you get an order for a trike, you don't need to keep two bikes. You can just take this bike, put that part on it, and you have a different product. The other side is ENVO as a business. When we don't have to invest in a lot of inventory, the same benefit applies to us as well. Then if you are businesses who want to get a fleet of these bikes, because all of these bikes have so many parts in common that you can use a part from an Overland on an Urban or on trike. So again, it falls to reducing the number of SKUs and also reducing the inventory that you have to invest in to have all of these.
Give me an example of some of the businesses that are investing in fleets of cargo bikes.
So we have three offerings when it comes to cargo bikes. We have the bikes which are Urban and Overland, which comes with a rack, which can take care of quite a lot of cargo. But then you also have the Flex Trike and Flex Cargo Trike. Flex Cargo Trike is designed just for businesses. It comes with quite a big capacity. And it comes with a platform, and you can put anything on top of it. If you want refrigeration, you can put a cabin which is refrigerated. If you want something where you just wanted to carry loads, that platform can take a lot of load. So businesses have a lot of options. They have different options to choose from if they have any cargo requirements.
Okay, so you guys have this incredible platform that has amazing adaptability. You can customize it to your use, you can customize it to your business, and you can customize it to your industry. And then you decided to build a snow bike. Why? And who does it benefit?
We live in North America. A lot of areas in North America are covered by snow for 6 to 8 months. And at the same time, we have people living in North America who love cycling. In the summers, in the spring, sure, you can take out your bike, you can go on a ride. But what about people who wants to bike all around the year? There are some fat bikes which you can take on a little bit of slush, a little bit of snow, but that's not the answer according to us. So that's why we created something for this market that we operate in, that if you love bicycling and you want to do it all year round, there is a product waiting for you. For example, we have clients living in Alaska and who have bought these bikes, and they send us their pictures of them riding in 3 feet of snow. So it's more of a recreation product, targeted more toward customers. But yeah.
One of the big things that's interesting about Flex versus, say, other brands in the market is you've got your 2 batteries. Can you expand on the reason for that?
So we wanted to give an option to the customers that one battery is enough. That gives you the same amount of capacity in the range, which is an industry norm. But at the same time, you want to push your bike to limits, there is an option. So that is why we designed this to accommodate the second battery as a part of its own design. And these batteries, as I mentioned, are electrically connected. A lot of our competition just offers a second battery that is just sitting there. It's more of a battery holder. But with us, it's connected to your electronics, and it is serving. So you can have both batteries on or either one of them on, your bike will operate.
The ENVO Flex platform itself, that's the foundation. That's just where it starts. Who is it for? Where can it go? And what's its potential?
So, as you mentioned, that ENVO Flex is just the starting point. It's designed for everyone. It's designed for every single demographic there is. If I take the example of these two, Overland and Urban, it addresses 70% of all of your demands. You can take it for commuting. You can take it for your cargo. You can go take it for your grocery shopping. But having said that, it also future-proofs your investment. If you have an Urban, you can also possibly convert that into a trike if you decide to do that later on. If you are an adventurer, you go off roads during the summers. In the winters, you can convert that into a snow bike and do the same sort of adventures during the winter. So essentially, you are investing not in a bike but in a platform. You are investing into something that addresses all of your demands today and tomorrow.
And what about price point? What does the ENVO Flex start at?
So there are 4 of these. So we have different price points. Urban is more targeted to, because it's 1,000 watts and it has bigger batteries. It is a little more expensive. But if you, for example, if you just want to use it on roads and you don't intend to use more than 500 watts, then Urban is the more economical version for you. Same goes for trikes. There's a cargo version which is targeted toward B2B buyers. That is a little more, but then if you just use it for your groceries, then you just need a trike, which is much more affordable.
What excites you the most about where Flex is right now and where it's going to go?
So it's an ongoing project. The product roadmap is what I'm most excited about, to add to more accessories, to make it much more intercompatible. We're just happy to put smiles on our customers' faces.